Today's lesson is on fractions, decimals, and percents. Before we get started, though, I want to talk about that little pencil symbol in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I added that in so that you know when to take notes. Every time that you see that symbol, you want to write the information down. So since there is a pencil symbol on this page, you want to title your notes fractions, decimals, and percents. All right, the next part you don't need to write. We're talking about the word percent. So let's break it down. What does that word actually mean? So the first part of the word is per, P-E-R. You've heard this before. You might not have thought about it, but when you say miles per hour, you're actually saying per there. That per is representing the fraction bar. Another time you might have heard it is miles per gallon. All right, now let's look at cent. You've heard cent before in the word centipede. A centipede is a bug with 100 legs. You've also heard of a centimeter. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. How about cents? There are 100 pennies in a dollar. And century, there are 100 years in a century. So that word cent stands for 100. So if we talk about the word percent, what we're talking about is per 100. You might have also seen it written like this as the symbol percent. Now what I want to emphasize is there's going to be a number here, okay? Something per 100. Now you can either write it as a fraction over 100 or you can use the percentage symbol. So if I'm talking about 75%, I could say 75% per 100, or I could write 75% with the symbol. You would do one or the other, not both. All right, so today let me give you a summary of what we'll be covering. We are talking about fractions, decimals, and percents. So we are going to convert percents to fractions. We will convert fractions to percents. Then we'll convert percents to decimals and decimals back to percents. So the first example we're going to do is changing a percent to a fraction. So 5%, we want to change that to a fraction. Well, this is actually very easy because if you think about 5%, what you're really saying is 5 per 100. So we could change that to a fraction as 5 over 100. But be careful, you're not done yet because you need to put it in simplest form. So 5 and 100 both have a factor of 5. So we can divide by 5 in the numerator and the denominator. And then this would simplify to 1 over 20. This would be the answer. 1/20th is the same as 5%. This is the percentage form. This is the fraction form. Okay, next we're converting a percent to a decimal. So now we have 16%. And we want to change it to a decimal. All right, so first of all, let's change it to a fraction like we just talked about. 16% would be 16 over 100 because it's per 100. And then like we've talked about before, if you have 16 out of 100, you would change that to a decimal by dividing because 16 over 100 really means 16 divided by 100. And then 16 divided by 100 would just be 0.16 or 0 and 16 hundredths. Now there is a shortcut to doing this, which you've probably seen before. So instead of actually dividing by 100, what you can do is, see, I put my decimal at the end right here, okay? Here's 16%, and I'm going to change it to a decimal. The way that you would do that, instead of dividing by 100, it's really the same thing. You're going to move that decimal 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So it's 0.16, and remember, like we talked about in class the last few days, you need to put that 0 in front, so it's 0 and 16 hundredths. Same answer that we got up here, just a kind of a shortcut to do it. All right, now let's go the other way, changing a decimal to a percent. So we have 0 and 23 thousandths here. And in order to change it to a percent, we want to do the opposite of what we just did. So we're going to multiply by 100. And when you multiply that by 100, you get 2.3. But because we changed it to a percent, make sure you put that percentage symbol there. It's 2.3%. Now again, we've got that shortcut. Instead of multiplying by 100, you can just take the decimal point, which I put right here, and we can move it 2 spaces to the right. 1, 2, which is 2.3, which is what I got right here, 2.3, and I would have to be careful to put the percentage symbol since it is a percent. And last, changing a fraction to a percent. Again, this is something we do all the time. If you get your quiz back and you got 13 correct out of 15 total questions and you want to figure out your percentage, how would you do that? Well, first of all, you need to divide, because 13 over 15 really means 13 divided by 15. You would type that in your calculator and you would get about 0 and 87 hundredths. And then, like we already talked about, to convert a decimal to a percentage, you want to multiply by 100 or move the decimal 2 spaces to the right, and you would get about 87%. That's it for today, guys. Bye.